In today's video, we're going to do the diff and rear suspension, part 1. Let's get there.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Hey Clooney Garage fans, it's Fred here. It's a stinking hot day here in Eastern Australia. I tell you what, you don't want that. But we're out here, we've just pulled the diff out of the VP and we're going to show you a look at it, and then we'll go all through the rear suspension. Part 1 and part 2. Part 1's all about the removal and what we're going to do. So let's have a look at the diff. Alright, so here she is. She's all loaded up, ready to go into M&A. And that's your original VP stock diff. Now, from what we're told, the V6 and V diffs are the same, except some of the V8 diffs and the VN VPs come out with a slippery. Ours is just a non-slippery version, and that's why we're getting some modifications done to it. So let's start with the mods on this diff. We're going to get it re-studded because those studs are not long enough to clear out. We'll get enough bite and thread onto our Walkinshaw wheels. Obviously going to upgrade our rotors. Those look very second hand. We're going to stick with those calipers, but we're going to do braided lines and some different pads. Moving on to the diff, new diff bush there. It's the main one that goes onto the trailing arm. Sway bar, which we'll show you in a second. Going to get some full spool action. Bit of supercar replica there, young Fred. And then obviously we're going to look at, we might just stick with the 20-out spline axles. We're going to obviously get a different universal joint on the front there. And yeah, some panhard rod trickery. And apart from that, the only other thing is we're going to upgrade the diff gear. So we'll probably go to 3 9s. So that's going to be pretty cool. This diff goes in, just going to watch out for a snake just there. This diff goes in next week, and then we'll obviously show you all the footage of it getting rebuilt from our friends at M&A. They do a bang up job. They built my 9-inch my Tirana many years ago, and they've got our business again. All right, let's go look at the rest of the rear suspension. As I mentioned, stinking hot day here in Eastern Australia. Probably nudging 35 degrees, and it's hard work out there in the shed when you're working away on cars and mucking around and rolling around on grandma's blanket, but that's okay, you get that on the big jobs. So let's go in into young Clooney Garage here. Fred Jr.'s car's out of the sun. Professor's is waiting for an LSD that's just arrived. That goes in next week. And Fred, what have you been doing here, young man? All right, so let's start from left to right. So for those of you that aren't familiar with a VN VP rear end, they run what's called a live axle. And then later model Commodores start to come out with IRS and have the same diffs that like what we've got in the VE and the VF. But the solid axle is a bit of a primitive design, but that's what was there. So one part of the live axle setup on a rear suspension is they run what's called these lower trailing arms. So these things are fairly, low grade quality metal. Obviously we're going to have to change all our fasteners. That is a big bush that goes on the diff that's getting done with polyurethane. That diff needs to get, that bush needs to get replaced as well. Our friends at Super Pro are helping us out there. And actually Chubby from Low Fabrications is getting us what's called a boxed out upgraded trailing arm. And they basically weld a plate in here and strengthen it, a bit of other weight reduction and trickery as well. Get it all powder coated, and we've got to take this one up to Chubby. Just so you can have a bit more of a look there at what the OEM one looks like. So that goes up next week. And then Chubby's also sorting us out with a set of upgraded white line adjustable upper trailing arms. So they'll also have polyurethane bushes in them. These are just the stock ones that I'm showing you here. All this quality OEM pressed metal here from General Motors, only the best. And yeah, that has definitely seen better days. So that's getting replaced, that's getting replaced. So that's 2 parts of the trailing arm assembly, upper and lower. Then we've got this big doodaddy here called the panhard rod. Adjust your pinion angle on the diff. And we've never had a car with a panhard rod, and I'm pretty sure from the Perkins YouTube channel, 94 cars come out with a Watts linkage as well, which again, we don't have any experience with. But what we do know is that this one is non-adjustable, so we're getting an adjustable white line one. These bushes have got to go, and this is the OEM bush assembly on the panhard. And if you can see in here, the panhard bracket is just in there, and then obviously the bracket on the diff that I showed you as well. So all that is getting refreshed. So we'll throw out that one. If you want a Panhard rod, hit me up. You can have that for free. And then when we get onto the rest of the rear suspension, we're talking shocks and springs. So let's start with the shocks. Have a look at this one here. I'm going to do a test for you in a second to show you how stuffed that shock is. In fact, try and do it as I'm standing here. I'm going to depress the shock, and it doesn't come back. It's not supposed to do that. And look at the ease it was to compress that. So this car's done 130,000 clicks, and God knows how long that shock has not been working for, but they're both like that. They're both equally as stuffed. Then you've got our springs. So it runs a divorce setup, no coilovers, obviously. So we will get, obviously, a new spring and a new shock. We're thinking probably BCs, given the experience we've had with the Ute. And we can actually try and match the spring rates and the dampening settings with our front. Because in the front, as you've seen from previous videos, Chubby hit us up with these fantastic Coney fully adjustable coilovers that run the front hubs as well, and we've had the VT hub conversion. But I'm just showing some footage from a previous episode there. These are very nice. They're fully adjustable camber tops here. We can get in our 4 degrees negative up the top, and that's very nice. So that's what we're doing next. Lots of trickery, lots of setup, and people sort of say to you, well, Fred, you're on a live axle, how are you going to get any camber in the rear? And I've been watching a bit of Perkins, and you can run these things called camber wedges. So we're going to explore that too, see if we'll get 2 degrees negative in the rear. Otherwise, they'll be straight up and down as well. We'll show you the cavity here with no diff. We've just done a bit of painting in here, just tied it up a bit. And obviously that's our housing piece for our insulator spring. And she looks very bare under here when there's no diff. And you'll also notice we've done the fuel tank delete option. That's because there's a drop tank getting put in there. So that'll be good fun. And the only other thing is the sway bar. So let's go have a look at that. So when it comes to the rear sway bar, our friends at Low Fabrications have hit us up again. We've got this brand new powder coated, reconditioned rear sway bar. And this is thicker than the one that's obviously on the 6-cylinder. Brand new brackets, nolethane, polyurethane bushings. And that should help us. Happy days. Because I don't think the other one was previously operable, given the state of the bushes. And yes, and that will not be magic for flying around a racetrack. And this one also matches the front sway bar that we've had fitted. All right, Clooney Garage fans, it's getting a bit late here, but our sway bar linkages are all in, and that was good fun fitting them up. And that's obviously really good fun trying to fit a sway bar bracket by yourself. And that's all been done now. Thank you. So let's take a bit of a look here. And obviously we haven't tightened all that up, we've just mocked it up there. That's how the sway bar fits. So we've followed the nolethane sort of kit and instructions. That's looking very sanitary in here. Look at this. Again, I've got to tighten everything up. I've just mocked it up and get our brake lines in. And you've seen that in previous episodes where, again, it's from Low Fabrications. We've got all the nolethane bushings and all the sway bar linkages to go with it. So that's good fun. This is part 1 of a part 2 episode here, where we're going to do all the rear end, suspension, diff all at once. Diff goes off next week. Hopefully the rest of these parts arrive at Low Fabrications, get the trailing arms, all the bushes, and then do a whole episode on the fitment and show you a look what a full spool diff looks like. On that note, don't do it for Dale, do it for Brocky. Catch you later.